These photos were actually from Athens. Well, the green ones were. Um, and I loved Athens, not for the reason that most people do, but just because there is so much abandoned structures there that it's relatively easy to get into all of them. The one downfall is that I've never seen so many like used syringe needles as I have in Athens abandoned places. You can see even in this one, like right here, there's one. And I remember getting into one building that had just an amazing view, and then I just took a photo of the corner, and as it turns out, there was 22 used syringes in the corner. So a little creepy walking around trying to take photos while ducking syringes, but nevertheless, it's an amazing place if you like abandoned structures. Um, and again, the subways are something that I've always been interested in. Um, I guess maybe because I grew up in sort of a farm country area. Having mass transit, it was such a novel thing for me when I first moved to Baltimore that, I've always kind of been drawn to it. I like the sort of the silence that goes on down there. Like it's a real contemplative place for me. Just being able to kind of go down, forget about reality, forget about what's going on above ground, and kind of zoning out was always a great thing for me. Again, more factories, subways, and such. Um, and so going into the subways, I mean, scenes like this are what always sort of inspire me. Just, again, the cluster of people, like the sort of overwhelming, life that kind of is surging through there. So I always, try to just turn them into stencils every time I see something that really appeals to me. You know, and I moved from California to New York for a couple of different reasons. First of all, I had a child, so our family was there. We just wanted to be closer to family. The second reason, though, is that just for the work that I was doing, for dealing with the urban landscapes, for dealing with this sort of massive sprawl of structures and transportation, there's just no other place like New York. This is from one of the events. There's no story, it's really like the photo. Funny thing is, like, I guess this was some TV reporter they had sent to do a story on Carl and I. Yeah, this is the collaborative effort of us. But as Carl was painting his piece, she asked if she could get in and spray paint it, which I thought was a bit odd because I wouldn't ask her if I could be a TV reporter in the middle of her reporting. So in the middle of him painting, you can hear her say, like in a video that I have somewhere, can I get in there and paint? He goes, no. She goes, are you being serious? He goes, yes. And apparently she got so pissed off, she just turned around and walked out, and they never did the story. But and at first I felt a little bad, but as soon as 610 sort of made his point, I was like, yeah, like I wouldn't ask her to hop on live TV and do a TV report, so why the hell should she asked me to hop in and actually do my art? I mean, that's the sole reason that we're there, is just to make art. So just doesn't make any sense. But I just thought it was funny how people can kind of be divas about stuff. Another alley piece of mine. Again, more New York. There's just no other place like New York for me right now. Not sure if it's where I'm going to retire, but for any of you that have a chance, make sure you try to get over and see it. And as you can see, going around taking photos, that's what I use as the inspiration for my pieces. So, I love the way the cobblestone streets acted in that one. I turned it into a stencil. Sometimes with my work, it's a fairly straightforward just interpretation of reality. Just take a photo, turn it into a stencil. Other times, I'll sit in a place like this, take dozens of photos, and then kind of composite them into one giant one. So whereas in the beginning I kind of started off simply just taking photos, interpreting them as a stencil, my work's kind of evolved into like, now it's more a case of like, well, what are you trying to say with it? Like sort of creating these alternative realities that exist, sort of, sort of how I feel or what I see when I kind of walk through the city. Like this is, this is essentially it. So now it's just a case of trying to find images that support what it is that I'm trying to do. And again, here's another case of just taking dozens of photos and then plucking the best people out of it to make the final piece. And again, the subway's always a source of inspiration for me. There's my son. That's the reason that I moved to New York. And again, just going through, taking photos, trying to figure out which ones look better as stencils, which ones look better straight as photographs. Is always kind of the challenge of what to do. Last year I had a show in London, one of the more successful shows that I've had. Certainly it helped bring a little more visibility to what it is that I'm doing. Financially did very well. And just being able to kind of expand out and do more stuff, be able to make a sustainable living off of art. It's always a bit of a so sorry about the order on these. I actually had a whole thing planned where it was a nice chronological thing with pictures that matched, but yeah, it just got shot all to hell when I open up. At least I won't bore you with like my vacation photos or anything like that. And this is at that at Black Rep Press in London. Good gallery. Treat everyone fairly, so it's a good spot. And again, London, going there, just trying to find images, situations that make for good stencils. Oh yeah, here's the corner I was telling you about with the syringes. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell, but if you look around, you see just dozens of them. So, one of the downfalls, I guess, of going into the abandoned places. And like I said, the past year, I mean, things have sort of morphed from slowly just transposing reality into a stencil to more sort of creating a reality. So you can see, like, with this piece here, this whole side is from this photograph, but I really just didn't like how the cars were. So, I managed to walk around, find other alleys that looked good, and then put a cobblestone street in there. So again, just trying to create realities, or fictional realities in my head, and put them on a canvas. And I believe we're sort of getting to the end of stuff. This is one of my more recent pieces. Love the way the building looks. Didn't like the truck and didn't like a few other things about it. So, managed to go in, fix it up, and use the photo simply as reference for the final piece. And then for those of you that may or may not have seen the piece I did at Nuart, these are just the reference photos that kind of come from that. Like, this is the finished piece, taken from these 3 photos.